Resident Evil 8 is the newest Resident Evil game. This doesn't count. And it has the best character ever invented in it. Lady did something. I can't even stay focused. Oh my god. Anyways, today I got the Platinum Trophy on Resident Evil 8, or Village for you established individuals. The game has 50 trophies within and takes multiple playthroughs to complete. I finished it at around a grueling 32 hours of playtime. The first stage to Resident Evil 8's Platinum journey is to play through the entire game on the easiest difficulty and do various collectible activities. Also, there is no chapter select, so you have to be very careful when you save and where. The game begins with a scary story that Mia Khalifa is reading to her baby. Now, I'm not a mom, but I don't know if that's the best story to read to your child. I think maybe SpongeBob would do just fine. Anyways, Ethan then has to take the dumb baby up to its room so he can sleep at like 5:30. What an idiot. We then head back down to see Mia, and she gets shot up from all angles, but somehow doesn't die. Now, I don't know about you, but that is pretty sus. Which is exactly what this guy probably thought when I just started talking nonsensicals on this radio to him. So Ethan got stolen by the people that shot Mia in her own home, and then the transport crashed, as you could probably tell. We then wander around the forest in the dark, and Ethan's dumbass can't raise his flashlight up to eye level for the life of me. I don't know if he was afraid of seeing a bad booty bitch or something, but the ground does look very cool.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyways, after a very eerie walk in the woods, it was now daytime. So I guess daylight savings is relevant, even in video games. Because it was just the dark of night a few seconds ago. In view is a giant castle which looks awesome, and I can't wait to go get molested inside of it later. But first we went down to this backwater village in front of it. Nothing is allowed to happen in terms of enemies until you open this curtain and nearly get dropped by Grandpa. This starts a chain reaction to the rest of this game and is where the story truly begins. Also, poor Grandpa is no longer with us. May his bad aim rest in peace. I then got attacked myself, and poor Ethan truly is having a very bad day. But thankfully the aim assist in this game is stronger than my will to live, so I easily took out the first enemy of the game. And I also got my first trophy for crafting a few things, which is essential in this game. We then went to this house nearby and got attacked by a ton of people. This trend continued until the village was set into a full-blown riot, and a ginormous enemy who really needs to shave that beard came to kill me. And he did just that. But these bells began to ring, and I truly was saved by the bell. Also, this crazy old lady walked by and then gave me a trophy because I didn't try to tackle her, even though I really wanted to. The old lady also had info on Ethan's baby named Rose, who was the entire plot of the game and why we are here trying to save her from these evil people. Then the old hag locks me out of the other part of the village. Low-key kind of unnecessary and kind of rude. I'm a little bit shocked, Grandma. I then destroyed my first goat statue of the day, which is one of the harder collectibles in the game, and got another trophy. The objective was then to find these two crests, which go into a locked door so we can get into the castle. I found the first one in this church nearby, and then the other behind the locked door, which I disassembled with my expert dad skills. After grabbing that, I opened a gate next to me and saw Mother Miranda, who is this game's final boss, just executing locals. What a legend. I then made my way to the castle and was instantly jumped by this guy who looks like he's straight out of Overwatch. And he captured me with a hard metal. Now, I love things that are hard, but... Hey, yo! So yeah, I was then placed in front of every single character in this game, and even the big booba lady. That dude who captured me is named Heisenberg, by the way. I know, he looks different here. But he sent us on a little chase after the meeting we eavesdropped on, and it ended with me nearly being grinded up like prom night into tiny pieces. And I got a trophy right after. We then went back the same way we tried to originally and got confronted with Duke, who is this funny fat guy who sells us items and weapons throughout the game. He truly is a legend, and I hope he doesn't die of a heart attack soon because he looks very close to Lizzo's level of healthiness. I finally made it to the castle, but was nearly immediately caught by the whole gang. And honestly, I was quite happy when being captured by these four. In fact, if I had to die here, I would say my last few moments would definitely be felt with pleasure, to say the least.
That is shameless.
Anyways, once the sinful actions left the room, I was then forced to escape. And I did so by dragging my hands through metal hooks that held me up. And now it's time to go begin some of the puzzles in the game so we can engage in boss fights and get trophies and all that good stuff. The first puzzle had us take this eye out of a ring and place it in a door to open it. Sadly, I got jump scared immediately again and fell down like 4 stories to the basement so I could escape. But I was fine because plot armor. We then fought the mom's basement soldiers until having a boss fight with baddie number 1. And in order to do damage to these people, you have to expose them to moonlight or just the outside, I guess. But once you do that, it's very easy to rid them of existence. After that fight, I then used an attachment on my pistol and got a trophy. I also used a lockpick for the first time and got another. A little bit later on, I also took up a career of peeping Tom with the mommy milker lady and enjoyed every second of it. In fact, I was sad when she walked away. This game truly is a great distraction after what she did to me. So anyways, I chased after that booty shamelessly and was confronted. This truly is devastating. Also, I got thrown through the floor. A little dramatic, but alright. Later, I found Duke again and bought some extra storage so I could hold more useless things and get another trophy. I then did a sort of annoying ball puzzle and rolled it it all the way to the golden hole and got a trophy. I then did boss fights with the other two daughters of Mommy Milker Lady, and it was easy peasy if I do say so myself. I then did a trophy which had me break every single window in the castle. So not only have I gone in and killed everyone, I also raised their heating bills. You tell me which is worse. So now I had enough items to get out of the castle, and I did that. But Mommy Milker Lady is still alive and hunted us down to have a giant boss fight atop this tower nearby. Low-key, this fight was a tad bit challenging, but she honestly doesn't do too many attacks that can hurt you severely, so you can't really die unless you just suck at the game. Speaking of sucking, and no, not your sister, I got a trophy called That Sucked. I then made my way forward in the direction the game forced me to go and ended up in a cave with some fishies. I murdered the fish.
Oh, okay, goddamn.
So yeah, anyways, we found Duke again outside the village from the intro, and he told us to look a little bit closer at the jar we got from defeating Mommy Milkers. Inside was indeed the head of our baby, apparently. Now that's disturbing, but seeing you not drop a like and subscribe is even worse. Duke found that joke funny. I'm sorry, he made me do it. If you couldn't guess, that is now the objective for the game. Kill the other 3 main bosses and retrieve the body parts for our child. What a plot, I gotta say. Anyways, we begin this hunt by going to the House of Dolls, where Evil Doll lives. Now I say this in a joking way, but in seriousness, this was by far the scariest part of the game. And there wasn't even a jump scare, to be honest, until whatever the hell this was. Just the vibe and eeriness of it was enough for me to have literal chills. Then again, I'm bitch made. But I did end up killing the possessed doll, which was fun. And I got a trophy, which was nice. Also, we gathered Rose's legs in this jar of Old Mountain Dew. I then got attacked by a lot of enemies and threw down a bomb which blew up 3 of them at once and gave me a trophy for getting a multi-kill. So next I went to the water area of the game to steal the piece of Rose from this super deranged looking guy. In fact, I think I had a substitute teacher one time that looked just like this. Anyways, we got the jar, but now we have to escape from Maru, I think was his name, I don't know. And before that, we got conflicted with Chris, who was the same dude that quote-unquote killed Mia Khalifa in the beginning. May she rest in peace. Dang it, why did Maru have to show up? I was just having fun with Mia again. So yeah, we ran around for a bit and I found the last outhouse I needed to walk into for a trophy. And I got the trophy for doing that. Kinda weird, but okay. I then did a super annoying puzzle with these floating water contraptions, which I fell into a lot and it made me angry. As to be expected, we got a boss fight with this disgusting creature, and this was by far the hardest one yet. The amount of damage this guy takes is just insane. And it took me an absurd amount of both bullets and time to finally take him down. But once I did, we obviously got a trophy for it. So now we only have one more guy to go after. Before that though, I went around and tried to collect some treasure because you need a lot of money in this game by the end to unlock some difficult trophies. So while in a treasure location underground, I shot this fire thing at an enemy and caught it on fire, which was actually a trophy, and that's funny. I then made my way to the next area of the game I needed to go, and had a boss fight with that giant bearded guy from the beginning. Except this time I had a lot of items and was able to abuse him instead. And that's exactly what I did and was filled up with joy and ended the trophy. I also wandered around a little bit and fought a giant dog thing that once I eliminated it, I also got a trophy. I then placed all 4 of the rose thingies in this pedestal since I had gotten them all by now. Honestly, I forgot I did, I'm not gonna lie, I just spent so long exploring.
Stop the cap.
But nonetheless, this brought us to the factory area of the game, which is actually the final area of the game. And just because it's the quote-unquote final part doesn't mean it's short, because this section of the game takes ages to complete. We kick off the action by walking in on Heisenberg. Whoa, not like that. We walked in on his plans to destroy Mother Miranda. So he actually might be on our side a tad bit. Sadly, Ethan refused to listen to him since this guy's a tad bit insane, and we then got this goofy looking odd guy sent towards us and chased us until we fell into oblivion. Not Skyrim. Instead, the bottom of the factory, and our new objective is to reach the top again. I got a trophy for using the photo mode, however, before any more action. And honestly, this has got to be the dumbest photo mode ever. Like, you can't even leave his point of view. Anyways, this section just consisted of a long grind fighting very strong enemies and finding key items to then use to open areas of the map. It ended with us getting back to Heisenberg just to have him throw us back down to the beginning. What a day to be alive, for real. This was actually good though, because we ran into Chris all the way down here. And no, not the one from the Mr. Beast videos. Instead, this cool Chris gave us a fully weaponized tank, and we then used that in a giant boss battle with Heisenberg in his true form, I assume. This fight was pretty dope and a tad bit hard, but since we were on the easiest difficulty, it wasn't that bad, and I did it, which then gave me a trophy when it ended. We then got a cutscene where Mia Khalifa showed up, and it turned out that Mother Miranda has been cosplaying as her this whole time. My mind is literally blown. Anyways, Ethan Winters then died to Miranda. A sad day. But it was cool because we then got to play as Chris, and he has one of the most fun missions in the game. Chris also has a ton of military weapons that are cool to use, and I got a trophy once we took control of him for finding every treasure in the game from when we were playing as Ethan. So Chris did what any military man would and just went to a village of locals and exterminated them because his interests are more important. We also had a big fight with a bearded dude again, and this one was actually easier because of the overpowered weapons I can now use. A cutscene triggered shortly after that, and it showed us this infection thing's heart that has been giving everyone these mutated powers. So Chris just shoves a bomb into it, and we got a trophy after that was taken care of. I then turned to my right and shot the last goat of the game, but apparently I missed one. Son of a bitch. I did, however, manage to find all the files successfully, so I thank the lords above for that since there was twice as many of these compared to the goats. We then shot open this prison, and inside was the real Mia Khalifa. I am so happy right now. After that, we swap back over to Ethan and find out that he himself is corrupted. But that's fine because we use his last little bit of life force to go and do the final boss fight with Miranda. And I would be lying if I said this was hard because it most definitely wasn't. On the easiest difficulty, it yet again was a breeze and I took out Miranda. We then got Rose back, and I don't know why we even bothered because that baby is most definitely cursed, like there's no way it isn't. Ethan also finally died for real. There was then a few cutscenes for lore mumble jumble, and I received the game's ending trophy. So now it's time to just clean up a few things before doing the speedrun trophy and the hardest difficulty. To begin with this, I got lucky and found the last goat I needed for that trophy. And I thank the lords above because I was so stressed I would have to find all of them again. I'm not gonna lie, I then just sort of wandered around for an hour, not really sure what the hell was going on, but eventually decided to go after this trophy where you need all 7s in your money slot. I went with the highest one of 77,777 and got the lucky number 7 trophy. I then did another one where you had to shove an enemy after blocking it. This is usually done in the story, but I somehow didn't, and it really just shows how little I actually used the blocking feature. So I wanted to do the highest difficulty run next, but you are basically required to get the stake handgun and have infinite ammo, which I don't have enough money for at the moment. Instead, I did the speedrun trophy while only using knives and doing a few other objectives for it. This was shockingly easy because you can use the military knife Chris had, and that thing is like unreasonably good at the lower difficulties. A few bosses were a challenge, including the final one, but overall it was a breeze, and I managed to finish in around 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is well under the 3-hour threshold. I then received multiple trophies for doing so. We then went back and had to replay most of the game, gathering more money because I was very short on what I needed for that stake gun like I said earlier. The thing is literally overpowered as hell though, so what's that need for Village of Shadows difficulty? While just replaying the story though, I did get another trophy for shooting down a bunch of those robot guys from the assembly line. I also shot a bunch of dumbass birds straight out of the air. I then made a treasure out of 2 different treasures, and also kicked this ball back in the house to my own room, which was just brilliant and such a good feature into this game. So now I finally got the stake gun fully leveled up and got infinite ammo on it, which means it's now time to do the hardest difficulty playthrough. And with this gun, it honestly just becomes a joke. So much so that I was able to kill the bearded guy in the intro raid, which is so hard that it was a trophy. And yeah, I went and replayed this game again, which would now make it like my 4th playthrough of it. So it's safe to say I actually knew what to do for once inside of a video game and made it all the way to Miranda without any trouble. In fact, I actually beat the game with a time of 2 hours and 33 minutes on the hardest difficulty, which is honestly hilarious. And I got a lot of trophies once the cutscenes ended. So now it's time to do the real cleanup of the game, which mostly just consists of crafting and upgrades trophies within the game's inventory. One, however, had me melee an arrow out of the air, which was real neat. And I also sniped a bird out of the air, but we all know they are government drones anyway, so it's not that deep, I swear. And I then did the 2 trophies gotten within the extras section for purchasing a bunch of art and all that fancy stuff. The final step is to now go and do the mercenary mode, which is this extra mode in the game that just has you placed into a bunch of different arenas with lots of enemies in them. Kind of a dumb mode after a few hours, so this step sort of sucked balls if I'm being honest. However, nearly right away I got the 30 kill combo trophy, which was cool. I then downloaded the DLC for this mode because it lets you play as Mommy Milker Lady, and shocker, she is an absolute W character. In fact, she made this extremely easy to get because even on the hardest version of the maps, you can easily kill enemies in one move with her special powers. So after fighting Miranda again in the mercenary mode on the hardest difficulty, I managed to get S tier at least on each map and the final trophy. Then the platinum trophy popped right after. Feels good to win against the milkers for once, but I'd still like to lose to them if you know what I mean.